Shanghai, you're getting a look at a couple of viewing parties happening across the city as CLG and SKT ready up for Game 3 in this best of 5. And it's do or die time for that CLG squad. Down 0-2. They've got to get that reverse sweep coming through. So this is where I ask you guys to start spitballing. Throw strategies my way. What can CLG do to claw their way back into this one?
Same picks and bans, third time in a row.
There it is.
No.
Nailed it.
Really, there's a lot of trouble here because I think that was their best theory for what they could do in picks and bans. At this point, because of the way that SKT's been able to control the map with the split push of Trundle, allowing Faker and Bang to do pretty much all the damage, I think CLG just needs to pick a full team fighting composition, as like backwards as that would seem for a team that's controlled the map for most of the season. But I think that's their chance because of the way SKT's playing passively.
I think that you actually go the other extreme. I mean, their bread and butter is having the strongest split pusher. Just take the Trundle yourself. Like, don't give it over again. See if you can create a pressure point. Sure, your team fight's not going to be as good, but I think that the way that CLG will win is if they are able to separate SKT and then make those decisive plays that we're used to seeing out of them. It's kind of sad to see also the deterioration of Darshan in this series, at least from my point of view. He was a player that I think had shown up and was having some fantastic games, and this time around just doesn't seem to be able to reach the same heights that he was throughout the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, maybe just drop a Maokai ban, maybe try and get it to Darshan, really comfortable champion even from behind. If not, I just want to see the return of the Ballista. Just like some cheeky counter.
Yeah.
So really throw a curveball. Because I think if you play the standard game, SKT in group stages, definitely you can beat them, but they seem to be definitely polishing their play. Cheesy picks. I mean, there's a reason that they adopted the Soraka pick eventually, like stuff like this that can throw you off, or you lose the game in 15 minutes, but hey, at least you tried.
I think that they actually are expecting like a cheesy pick like of Blitzcrank because they keep last picking Nami, which means that even though they want to play it, they're not 100% sure that Afro is going to follow these rules of engagement of range supports.
I mean, that's a very good point. So the Trundle obviously causing a lot of problems. Jat, you mentioned that as a result of that, Faker and Bang doing the majority of the damage. Faker had 37% damage share and Bang at 33.4, which only serves to say that just means Trundle is not in most of these fights or most of the skirmishes to deal damage.
Yeah, but he's controlling the map in a lot of different ways. He's been the strong split pusher for that, and it's allowed Faker to shine in team fights. Like, even though CLG is putting a tremendous amount of focus with Darshan roaming down, trying to gank him. They actually killed him 3 times at the start of that game. You could not take him out of the game because CLG was never able to get the right amount of map pressure to take advantage of their gold lead.
All right, so a Trundle takeaway, an option, maybe even stretch to any of the other numerous split pushers that Darshan has played in the past. But then the contrasting opinion is that perhaps you go full team fight, you look for a way to engage in a 5v5 and actually take him in the late game.
It's really tricky, too, because the Ezreal would block the move that I want to see CLG pull. I want to see them give them Soraka and then take Blitzcrank into it, but I just don't think that'll happen because you're not going to take Blitzcrank into Ezreal.
You go for the flash R hook, you know, the point blank silence hook. Like, yeah, you try to okay, there's just now. Yeah.
All right, well, straight from Krepo's mouth, we know how to beat him anyway.
That's how you beat the world champions.
There it is. With Game 3 just moments away, we'll hear how, according to Wolf, even world champions have room to grow.
저희 SKT가 이번에 처음 재계약할 때부터 이번 시즌 목표라기보다 모토를 약간 발전하는 SKT가 되자고 잡았어요. 건강하고 발전되는 SKT가 되자. 그래서 저희가 스프링 시즌을 7등으로 시작을 했는데 7등에서 우승까지 발전하면서 갔거든요. 그래서 이번 MSI도 좀 시작은 좀 안 좋았지만 해외팀에게 배울 것도 많았고 저희 실수가 좀 많이 나왔기 때문에 그걸 줄여가면서 하면 뭐 문제될 거 없겠다 싶었어요.
From 7th to winning LCK, from the lowest seeded playoff team to one Nexus away from mid-season Invitational champions. The only trophy that SKT has not yet added to their trophy case. We've heard the analysts there talking about picks and bans. GG Re Game 3, are you expecting the same thing?
No. Well, what I think that they should do is use what worked here at MSI for CLG, and that was playing around Stixxay. Coming into this matchup, the top 2 damage per minute players were Bang and Stixxay. SKT, they're playing around Bang, and Bang is delivering. I think that CLG should return to their style where they draft around Stixxay, they play around him. There's a reason that all these international players were saying Stixxay was the best AD carry at this tournament.
So, change here, Ezreal being banned, I think that's very smart because when you want to run these range supports without a lot of CC, Ezreal is very scary to play against because he can just jump around, play very aggressive, and Soraka can't do anything against him, so it's a smart ban. SKT leaving Rise open and Maokai, basically telling CLG, we're going to trade. You get one, we get one.
I love this. Prioritizing the Maokai first and giving over the possible Rise here, because Rise, we've seen many times, you can stuff him in team fights. If Maokai gets a root and there's a Soraka on the team, you layer that up with a silence, and Rise does nothing in that team fight.
Hate to say it though, there are still a lot of good picks for SKT. At Trundle top lane as an option into Maokai is definitely there. Can also just play the Poppy. The Rise pick forces Huhi on something different now because Echo is banned. This was again the big question coming in. What is he going to play in the mid lane?
Well, we're going to find out. Take a look at this. Kindred locked in for Xmithie. It's one of his best performing champions, and not the Nidalee either.
And CLG are doing what I was thinking. They're going to build a lot of protection around Stixxay. They've got the Soraka Kindred that's so hard to take down the back line. Darshan is the frontline champion, the premier tank in the game right now.
And obviously SKT, they know this. We need to be able to dive the backline. So Poppy comes in, teleports straight into her. Flash engages from a Rise coming in as well. Either Caitlyn or Kalista are the two picks we look at here for Stixxay. Kalista Soraka in itself is a bit of a weird combo. You don't really want to throw the Soraka in, but it does add a bit of extra CC. That's another one. We saw it in the NA playoffs, of course, the Rage Blade Hurricane Tristana.
Much talked about, luckily not often repeated build just yet. 35 seconds before Counterlogic Gaming rounded their team composition, we've seen changes, we've seen tweaks. The last lock-in for SKT could most likely be that support. Are we expecting an army again or not likely now that the entire dynamic has changed, Kobe?
I think it makes it pretty difficult, but again, that's why SKT are saving their support pick for last. We really emphasize the mid lane counter picks, but really what's been so important as CLG and North America have defined.
It's meant to be a pull a faker.
It's meant to be a counter pick.
It is definitely in the laning phase. A great pick for the Cassiopeia, and there's the Caitlyn as well.
Caitlyn Cassiopeia, locked in and secured. It's the thing that was talked about coming into the tournament. But now we need to see whether or not Huhi can make it work in what could be the very last game that CLG play here.
And one of the reasons why I was saying CLG should go for one of those centric comps is because one of the things they listed in their interviews that they're so confident in, that they actually think they were better than SKT, was their team fighting. They need to prove it.
So, a lot of changes for CLG. They have engaged now with some CC from the Maokai. You have ulti from Cassiopeia. You have two carries in the late game where you don't want to ignore one of them, but you will have to. I mean, you will be diving on one, get the Cassiopeia or get the Caitlyn, but the other one will go crazy then. Still, SKT's team composition is also great in the late game.
Yep.
Rise is there. Illusion being buffed up by Anami, getting slows on his auto attacks is something Bang will use a lot. But man, we're gonna get a very explosive game with a lot of team fighting.
SKT looking to finish this out cleanly. CLG finally switched it up here for the last game.
Once again, though, they least coming in for SKT because all they care about is getting river control. They want an early game jungler who can duel against the Kindred or gank a little bit better maybe against the Kindred when you combine the double CC with each other. Obviously, Kindred is a very strong ganker herself, but she has a Cassiopeia who can't set it up as well as Rise.
The thing is, there's a lot of volatility in this mid lane matchup. These are basically the mage machine gun champions, Rise and Cassiopeia. A lot of the reason why Cassiopeia is picked into Rise is not necessarily for hard countering him, but if you get the stun, small windows change the tide of that 1v1. And as you said, Kindred can answer Elise in the early game very well.
We'll find out whether or not Xmithie can handle that pressure from Blank, and whether or not Counterlogic Gaming will bite back.
The key in that one is to save your hail of arrows, your Q on Kindred, to dodge the cocoon. You can't get hit by the cocoon.
Now let's find out how it handles. The trophy is one game away. The mid-season invitational title is so close to belonging to the LCK. After so narrowly losing out last year in 2015 in Florida. Game 3, CLG, their backs are against the wall. And now they have a chance to bite back. We've seen 2 lane swaps. Game 2 was a lot cleaner and a lot more advantageous for Counterlogic Gaming. Deficio, do you think this game is going to lean towards a lane swap, or where are CLG looking?
Well, the thing is, if CLG are looking at lane swaps and saying we are better than SKT at lane swapping, you can always opt into it just to get an early advantage as a team. Laning-wise, it's very, very strong lanes bottom mid. And look here, early gank.
Oh, a lot of damage. Exhaust comes out. Huhi's in trouble. The bubble will help out. 3 members of CLG come to support. Only Wolf's Exhaust was used. No additional summoner spells, so nothing major. And some deep vision here from Darshan.
Yeah, SKT just trying to force a flash, but Huhi knew he had members on top side. Hovered up and no chance of him actually dying, even though it looked pretty close.
Another very early level gank in that mid lane.
And it's definitely crucial that Huhi did hold on to his flash, because as I said, this is one of those mid lane matchups that can turn on a dime, especially if they end up in standard lanes and the junglers get that freedom. Looks like CLG are going to seek it out though. And once they get some vision, which will be delayed, try and call the lane swap, I think.
Yeah, not seeing anything just yet. Obviously, they know SKT haven't recalled and run to the top side, so they will expect them to be bottom side, and that's why.
Yeah.
CLG is going top now and saying, you know what, we can actually outplay you in these swaps.
Going for that blind swap. Send the duo up top side.
Are we going to see a Soraka gank mid as well?
Most OP gank ever.
Does not have
Level 1 stock
Ignite,
roll.
so...
Boom!
But Spell Thieves deals a decent amount of damage there. Aphromoo also cashes in a little bit.
It's a good early trade here. Meanwhile, Darshan is already topside. Only took 1 camp together with Xmithy. That's very early.
Yeah, so CLG, while they did draft a more standard team fight team comp, they're throwing in some wrinkles here with the early moves.
Why not? Wolf can come up as well. We know he's got that bubble available to him. And not going to find a connection. Hey, here we go. 2v2 mid lane.
It's about to be 3v2 as well, never mind. The junglers are not coming.
And continue trading. Huhi eats that bubble. Takes a little bit of damage, but forced away. And finally, it looks like the supports are going to default to their lane. Okay, so CLG once again on the outer turret ahead of SKT. But SKT will be catching up
Why
shortly.
is Duke up here in the top lane? He has nothing to do in this
He got
lane.
in range for that melee minion experience. That is why.
That is it.
Not saying it's correct, I'm just saying that's why.
He's slowing down his team now when it comes to pushing his bot lane tower. He also wants to be down here and actually get the gold. You so rarely want to have to waste your teleport just to get a little bit of extra experience. A very greedy play by Duke in this lane swap. No teleport for him, but will be able to join on tower.
Yeah, and they use the teleport on that melee minion, so it's going to be a big minion stack on that wave as well.
Will help out whoever catches it from CLG. Tower will be falling shortly, and we're going to keep an eye on this mid lane. Faker, undefeated on Rise this tournament, 4-0. He's gone 19-24 across those games, and Huhi has picked the theoretical counter as High chimes in at the reverse sweep.
North America very, very well acquainted with reverse sweeps, and High himself,
The king.
an expert.
But it's funny with these mid lane matchups for CLG because they actually opted into skill matchups every game now for Huhi. SKT is setting up a little bit of a cheese gank here where you're expecting the enemy bot lane to walk by this ward you see down the bottom lane and then you surprise them. But
I like that better. Surprise ganks. Well, most ganks are surprises.
hopefully.
But the unexpected camp here down in that brush.
Now
See how
this-
long they wait, because Darshan is Maokai, can throw a sapling.
Yeah, again, so CLG didn't go for the standard rotation here when they take top tower and then go down bottom lane with your dual lane. So actually, they're not going to get anything for now as SKT.
Oh, this is
Maybe.
scary.
No.
Oh, puts the ward down. Darshan playing with his life.
So this obviously means that Bang is alone top lane now. Gets a bit of solo experience, 6 A's here, and we get to even out, get standard lanes instead. And SKT opted in for that gank, didn't gain anything.
Yeah, because of that commitment down bottom for SKT, CLG set up the freeze right in front of their turret. Stixxay tanks that so that the minion doesn't die and Bang won't snag that CS.
Oh, now Duke needs to be careful. He knows this wave is going to push towards CLG.
Flash is available. Darshan is looking for the gank. There's support coming for SKT. Defensive flash from Duke. And that will allow Darshan to get in range. But he's down a lot of CS and a full level from his opposite number.
But he does have a wave pushing towards him now.
He has the control and he also has the vision. That's why Blank is down here next to Duke.
Blank is here because he needs to push it out.
He has to help him, or else Darshan could freeze.
So basically, he's here just to push out the wave. Why not get a bit of gold from a pink ward as well? Xmithy's still around, level 5 on this Kindred, but it's a big minion wave. Ooh, Hui's roaming.
Support from Hui. Remember, no flash on Duke. Blank's running for his life. Hui's coming down.
No teleport on the mid lane Faker either. This is a long lane. They're going to get this chase. Duke doesn't have flash, remember.
This could be so big for Counter Logic Gaming. Hui's flashed forward. Duke can't get away. He's exhausted. First blood picked up by Darshan's Maokai.
And SKT didn't give up on that play. They actually had Faker roaming down, so not punished quite as heavily as it possibly could have.
And also the wave in the bottom lane didn't hit the tower yet. So that is still pushing very slowly in towards CLG, and Darshan can now pick up all this farm, and Duke is going to find himself in a very, very bad spot.
That's a very, very good point to bring up.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Because oftentimes when you go for those extensive, three-man committals to pulling off one of those long lane ganks, you lose out on a substantial amount of gold. But CLG right in front of the turret where Darshan wants it.
It is Christmas for Darshan. He's getting everything right now.
Not Christmas for Smithy, though. I believe Blank got that scuttle crab, and the mark denied.
Slow down some of that additional damage from Smithy. So lane swap advantages again being accrued by CLG. 6 minutes in, first blood, and it was on the member of the team who had been starved the most. And is going to continue to farm his way up. 2 culls picked up again for Stixxay and Bang, respectively.
And I love to see junglers then stay around the bottom side when you know this wave is in such a bad spot for Duke, because if he shows up to try and push it out, you just gank him again. He has put up 2 wards in the jungle to try and defend himself, but honestly, you can even lane gank him at this point. You just lock him down with the Maokai.
Yeah, Kindred has so many options. And Smithy here is one of those players that also likes to get the early Hunter's Potions, so you have even more options. Kindred already has a ridiculous amount of sustain in the jungle, but going for the early Hunter Potion as well is a lot about keeping up the mana and the options wide open for you so you can react to what SKT tries to do.
CLG putting value in getting a blue buff though over to Hui for his own lane matchup, instead of being on the bottom side to try and punish Duke even more.
Got to get those bullets for the machine gun mages, Deficio. Blue buff is what they live on, and that will be a theme that we return to in this game.
Do you still think Duke can be shut down even more? Wave is very slowly pushing towards his tower. Darshan now realizing as well he doesn't have any vision in his own jungle, so actually doesn't belong to him because his own jungle is on top side, spotted. And that's why as a player you always got to be ready to divide the map. Never think this is your jungle if none of your team members are around.
And the choice is there, clear for CLG, as Smithy is able to get the top side mark, plus extend the farm lead over Elise. It is hard for Elise to keep up with the Kindred, but the Dragon started off here. Let's see what CLG's answer for that will be. 100% commitment down here. Blue buff on Rise. Those machine guns take down Dragons very quickly as well, so it's not going to cost Blank as much as you might think.
And normally we could see a play here where you push in the top lane and you set up a TP and you just dive them 4v2. But Duke does have teleport himself and can join in. So it can be a risky play to pull off, especially because you obviously need a bit of time before the Maokai arrives. But I think it is still an option for CLG. At least use it to pressure SKT away from tower and get a bit of damage. Hui's roaming as well.
So this might signal a dive coming out. Look at the mini-map. Teleport could be channeled. There's a ward in behind SKT.
There it is.
And it's being channeled. Here comes Darshan. SKT are in full retreat. Faker's managed to run up. Darshan cancels it and gets some of that cooldown back.
Yeah, again, he just forced them off tower, but that means Duke can TP now.
Oh, as Counter Logic Gaming are in trouble. The 90 caliber net will put some distance away as the heals come out. Flash will knock up Smithy into the air. Lamb's Respite will buy some time. They turn the damage around onto Duke. There is Wolf Bite, and Duke's forced to flash away.
Meanwhile, here comes Faker. He has been able to answer the roam from Hui, and Faker does have flash on Rise. So does Blank.
Flash Cocoon onto Stixxay. The follow-up from Bang is there. The bubble throws up Stixxay into the air, and Stixxay is killed. It's Bang that gets the secure. Hui's going to look for the Petrifying Gaze. He's already channeled it. It was not enough. Hui goes down. SKT have found 2 more.
CLG had the first part down here. Okay, try and threaten the top lane, get them to back away from tower. We get some damage on it. The problem is as soon as you channel the teleport and cancel, your team needs to run. Because obviously the enemy top lane is going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go top now, and we have a 4v5.
And those few seconds are crucial. You talked about SKT making a lot fewer mistakes than the other teams. That small mistake from CLG cost them very big. Let's see how much damage Darshan on the Maokai has been able to do down bottom during that time, though.
About 60% on the tower. So this is now Duke joining in. Obviously, if you look at your minimap, you can see how everyone else from SKT is running towards topside, and just Darshan is on the bottom lane. Chase is on. a slower chase than what we're used to because people don't really have boots yet if you're a faker, poor guy. And also Blank with the beautiful cocoon onto Stixxay.
It's one of those plays of CLG, if you go for that teleport play and you miss it, you mess it up, you have to be ready for the running for the hills basically, because SKT with the big punish here.
What a difference, because we were expecting Duke to be the weaker of the teleport users coming into the final. We saw a number of missteps and a number of mistimings on that ability, and throughout the course of the series, Duke has played the side lane very well, punished CLG when they're there, and obviously punishing once again the cancel TP play.
And one of the big problems about the play CLG tried to make was it was extremely predictable for SKT, because we saw Xmithie abandon the bottom side despite being able to shut down Duke even more. So like, okay, he's top side. What are they setting up for you? We see him in our jungle. We see who he leave the mid lane. Like, everything was moved towards that top tower. Warp being placed behind, so they knew what was happening. That's why Faker already moved. That's why Blank was on his way. And they basically just waited for the reaction from CLG and said, okay, now you're TPing. We're here to defend. You have to cancel. And now we can punish you. So it's a small play by SKT, constantly following CLG around, but just a little bit too predictable.
And it gives SKT the gold lead, the kill lead. They've got themselves a dragon already. And of course, will be aware that Doshan will have his teleport available sooner. It actually is already available if CLG wanted to set up another proactive play.
If CLG do go for one of those proactive plays, it can come from a Flash Cassiopeia ultimate. You want to hit the ultimate first and then flash after to cancel some of the animation and reduce the reaction time that your opponents do have. Got plenty of time to react now as we jump into the pause.
Luckily for who he, hopefully for him, doesn't have to be the main engage. When you have the Maokai, send him in first. Obviously, we know the backline of CLG here is not going to move with them, a Caitlyn and a Soraka. And that's one of, again, the big things about a pick like Soraka is you don't really create many opportunities for your team to deal damage in fights because you can't CC anyone. You just stay back and you heal up guys and you try and kite back and make sure they don't get bursted down.
And silence, if we count that as a CC, that could be crucial.
Lock them in place.
Those can be, yeah, those can be game-changing, especially if you land it on the rise.
We'll find out if Faker puts himself in a position to, you know, get rooted in place, whether or not Aphromoo can force that. Take a look at some of the differences already. Small CS advantage there for Doshan that is kind of snowballed and trickled from that cancel TP. And of course, who he's 2 roams or 3 roams that we've already seen this game is costing him some CS in that mid lane. Not really looking to go toe-to-toe with Faker just yet, Kobe.
Yeah, and he is going with early Negatron, trying to get to that Abyssal Scepter, because it is very often you're going to get locked into those 1v1s where backing out is extremely costly.
It's a difficult situation here for CLG because they've got no wiggle room when it comes to making mistakes. The moment SKT can get ahead, their team comp can continually force CLG to react. All that skirmish power from the Poppy, the Elise, the Rise, it is terrifying.
CLG, the thing, bonus for them though, is that they have a pretty good reactive comp here. They've drafted for more standard team fight. If they can try and set up their lines and prepare in advance for it.
I think it's fair to say that the team comp is also somewhat more forgiving. Maokai with his ulti, some Caitlyn traps to buy some zoning space if you're a little bit out of position.
Overall, there was a lot of problems with the team comp they ran in Game 1 and Game 2. First of all, you couldn't win the split push war because there was a trundle. You also couldn't team fight properly because you had no ways of really helping your carries dive the backline because you had no CC from like your own backline here, so you just get dove straight on. Like the Soraka didn't offer anything in that composition because when you run double teleport and you want to flank, you need something that can start the fight.
Right.
And then allow the guys to TP in and obviously join in after. And Soraka can't do that.
Well, it looks like we will be jumping back into the game. A quick client reset seems to resolve the problem for Stixxay. And just to take stock of the situation, 2-1 in kills, even on towers, an extra dragon to SKT.
And now that we also have a Nami back in the meta here, one of the reasons Nami was so good back in Season 3 was a lot of the mages being played was either pure assassins or it was these very low mobility mages. And when you then have a bubble, a tidal wave, it's very, very easy for you to actually force these mages to constantly move around in fights, especially a Cassiopeia who want to sit there and just spam away. If you ulti towards her as an army, you force her to move. And if she doesn't, she gets hit by it, she gets CC'd, and she dies. So Wolf does have a bit more presence in fights, more than just being a healing machine like Aphromoo is. And if he managed to land a good ulti, that can be a massive game changer.
The Cassiopeia mechanics are definitely something to keep an eye on. The difference in the small movements between casting spells definitely makes a huge difference. Darshan, this entire time down here on the Maokai has been, having to fend off Blank and having to continually throw out saplings through this
Losing
jungle.
his jungle.
Yeah, rather than trying to build on that lead and try and actually punish that 1 versus 1. This is going to be a 3 versus 1, though.
Darshan sees it, though, and has backed away. Faker, 2-level advantage, plus 20 CS over who he is opposite number. And it looks like Smithy's going to get challenged. There is some support coming up, though. Wolf and Bang will find some contest as Styx and Aframu come up. But challenge on the red buff. This could be an advantage here for SKT.
All right, no smites. It's just the last hits.
Let's see who's going to
Smithy's got it. Smithy's got it.
4 members picked up by Stixay, in fact, with the Pilt over Peacemaker.
So no smite.
Just
There
the red
was a
buff.
smite available. He does have smite, but Stixay is going to be able to get that with a
Good little
instead.
juke around as well from Smithy. Out of the bubble. Faker now might get ganked.
Flash, Petrifying Gaze just for the slow, but it will force a reactive flash from Faker. So both mid laners somewhat gankable.
And again, the way CLG is trying to play the map right now, it's once again very predictable. SKT has put up tons of defensive wards on top side because they know that's where they play the 2v2 with no tower behind them. So that's where they can get ganked. And then they just have Blank playing on bottom side together with Duke whenever the wave is pushed past the river. So they can always reset it into tower, bounce it back, and then they know, okay, now we have to be careful on top side. So they're playing very, very safe. And they're just trying, honestly, to get into a team fighting point together with CLG.
Yeah, that's why I actually think that CLG are kind of happy with trying to take safe play at the moment. Kindred's going to outscale the Elise. It's going to come down to really, really crucial cocoons from Blank if he wants to have a similar impact, which, to his credit, he did last game have a game-changing cocoon onto Huhi.
There's multiple forms of CC that can come down from SKT when you look at the entire kit. Poppy, Elise, Nami, Xmithy. Cocoon connects. Blank finds him. What's a venomous bite down. Xmithy forced to just dance of arrows away, but that big burst of damage should ensure no contest on Dragon number 2 here for SKT.
Wolf is still only level 5 though, so no ulti for him if he wanted to do anything. But just a nice little setup by SKT. Hover around Dragon, force CLG to move down to push him off, and then Blank is just hiding in the bush.
Yeah, the advantages of brush control and setting up the vision beforehand there. Elise getting the full combo off in a giant chunk is definitely enough.
Well, that small snowball starting to build momentum, starting to roll heavier in favor of SKT. They've not flustered under the pressure that CLG's put on them. And in game 3, they are the ones that have come out with the early game lead.
And obviously, while CLG will have a fantastic late game, we look at Maokai, you talked about the Kindred, we know Cassiopeia, Caitlyn, like fantastic scaling on almost everything. Their mid game is going to be weak. You have the Cassiopeia still stacking up her passive, stacking up the tier. Caitlyn, obviously, in the mid game is not very strong compared to Lucian. So SKT have been fine, saying, you know what, let's chill 15, 16 minutes. But now, 1 to 2 items getting completed, we can be really aggressive and we can start making some plays where CLG will not be able to properly teamfight them. So we might get 10, 15 minutes where SKT will really look to control the map.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of jockeying for positioning and trying to set up. Right now, SKT setting up outside the outer turret here, and that one will fall.
And just an easy play again. This is SKT understanding the power spikes of their comp. 1 item fully completed, Rod of Ages on Rise. You know what? We can start sieging up. We're not afraid of CLG ever engaging on us because we actually want to take that fight.
Let's see if CLG pull the trigger. Hurricane and BF sought for Stixay versus that Essence Reaver of Bang. Council Logic Gaming, they've got to play for time. Down 2,500 gold.
It's wave clear time.
Yeah. Wave clear and a safety. It's pretty good on the side of CLG, but they've got to be very careful to be in the right lane at the right time. Short range there on both Kindred and Cassio, and Darshan under pressure here from Faker.
And CLG are going to have to put more effort into defensive vision. You can see here with the toggle Fog of War, SKT are doing a good job of moving up the ward line slowly into CLG territory.
And again, one of the adaptations for this tournament was teams came in and put more focus on dragons because a lot of teams were drafting these team fighting compositions who could scale up. And that's another advantage for SKT in this game. They got 2 early ones, so even if CLG wants to play that waiting game, suddenly it's 4 dragons to 0, and then you're forced into fighting for number 5. And that just gives another opening for SKT in how they can play out this game.
Exactly, and that also means that SKT will have the setup advantage so that they can try and use, again, the Fog of War for the very beginning of it.
Stixxay and Afro going to go toe-to-toe here with Bang and Wolf. Trading relatively evenly. Good amount of sustain on both of these supports as Wolf is level 6 to Afro's level 6. There's going to be a challenge on CLG's blue buff. This is these ammunition for the spellcasters, but who he's nowhere nearby. So even if CLG are forced to secure this, it won't go to the primary target. Who is going to be able to arrive in time, but look at the rest of the mini-map. There's a challenge. SKT are looking to come in. Afro Mu temporarily silences Faker, and Duke throws down the verdict. Afro's going to go down. Wish will buy just a couple seconds, and Wolf has arrived at the tidal wave. Now Xmithy's in trouble. Lamb's Respite will buy time. Petrifying Gaze stuns up multiple members of SKT. Everybody's on the respite. They get the heal, but it's Bang that finds the kills. The Arcane Smash will buy some time, and Blank gets away.
Great job by SKT pouncing on that because they see Stixxay so far away. No AD carry for CLG, even though they're able to collapse here. SKT turn the screws.
It's what we talked about. SKT, they want to fight. They really want you to start taking objectives where they can get a fight around it because they are so strong at this point.
And the better setup here. I mean, Elise is the one farther away, but immediately moving, and Duke gets the delay knock up there, basically, which allows the DPS members of SKT to have some alone time with Afro Mu.
And you can see on your minimap here, Stixxay is still running from the bottom lane. No chance for him to join the fight. And this is what always happens when you lose every single lane and every single lane starts to get pushed down to your tier 2 towers. You will always react last. The other team will push in. They will eat first. They are the stronger ones. They will move first as well. And you just sit there, you get what you can, but then you also have to realize you can't fight anything, you can't contest anything, but you're never going to be 5.
Well, CLG are 4,000 gold down in 20 minutes. And mentioned that snowball a few minutes ago. SKT are looking to apply more pressure, force CLG to react. And every time they do, SKT is the stronger team right now.
Yeah, the snowball got quite a bit bigger off of that last blue buff contest, by the way. Not even one of the larger neutral objectives to go for.
You mean with a minute till Dragon?
That's a big one.
And CLG nowhere near capable of contesting.
Nope.
SKT are starting to visualize their fingers around that trophy. It's getting closer and closer. CLG need to hold on and try and deny it.
They got to hold on real hard. Reverse sweep is what is required for North America and for CLG to truly surprise. But it starts with coming back from another deficit, another game where they cannot falter, cannot give up. And Dashan, we've already heard from him one of the videos earlier talking about how you have to fight for every inch.
And it's true for SKT as well. I like that a lot of these stories apply to both teams. SKT, they talked about their rough season, not giving up, fighting all the way up through the playoffs to defeat the Rocks Tigers. Then here in the round robin stage, also a very slow start for the team, but fighting themselves all the way up to grab that 4th spot, the last spot to get into the knockout stages, and then running over RNG, the first seeded team here at MSI, in very convincing fashion.
Yeah, no doubt at all. SKT have pushed a lot of vision into the CLG jungle in this bottom quadrant. Dragon is up, remember, but SKT are saying, we dare you to walk forward. Will CLG do it? Xmithy's got no flash, will dance over the wall and hasn't fallen for the bait.
You're at this point in the game as CLG where you don't want to fight the Dragon. But you also realize that you can't keep giving up all these free objectives, because the next thing for SKT is you just move the vision you have on the bottom side to the top side, and you start doing exactly the same around Baron. And that's where CLG will have to fight. You cannot give over a free Baron to SKT because they will use it just to push every single lane down.
Right now, CLG's first priority is defense. They need to regroup around their turrets and huddle until there's an opening. They have to wait for SKT to back to Fountain to try and set up a pocket of vision. If you're this far behind as CLG, one of your only hopes is pulling off one of those small pockets of vision. If you concentrate your efforts in one area and go for one of those pink ward plays, that's the only aggressive play. Other than that, you have to hold the turrets. You have to farm out.
CLG's comp, though, really only does well when teams are running at them.
That's why a pocket of true sight vision would be huge.
Exactly, but in order to get that, as you just talked about, it requires SKT to back, probably fall asleep a little bit as well, and then so they give you an opening
Nap time
on
in
the map, you know? Technically, that should never happen. So for SKT, as long as they don't overextend a blind face shake at a poor time, they will get some of these fights where it's CLG who has to run at them. And they can't really with their composition because they're the ones chasing the gold lead, they're the ones chasing SKT around the map. And then you get this face check onto a Baron, flanking happens, and it becomes very, very difficult.
Who he is still down in CS, but keeping himself relevant. Abyssal Scepter completed, sitting on 1,200 gold. Faker, on the other hand, 2 kills and assist. Already, QSS get rid of that CC that can come down from multiple sources, and that is going to be a big problem for CLG. One of the great tools they had was to try and lock down Faker, maybe burst him out. This makes it exceptionally more difficult. Blue buff challenge all over again.
Fighting for it again.
Looks like he should be able to pick this one up. SKT just a tad too slow.
Yeah, big difference here is that the 4-man squad of CLG are together. Teleports would be available for both of those top laners as well, but in going for that blue buff, give up a decent amount of damage on this turret because the dragon stack and there is that burn. Just a couple of autos do a decent amount of work chipping away at it.
Yep, and SKT is just waiting again for a few more minutes to pass by so they can start taking that Baron, or at least threaten the Baron. Early on in the game is still risky for you to do. So get a bit of damage on towers. Do not waste your teleport if you are Duke. Just save it, match Dashon. That's all you have to do.
We'll find out how SKT continue the siege. Stixxay's finally arrived. He was shoving out that top wave, and that's what allowed SKT to continue to siege up. Duke, on the other hand, he's going to get some hammers down onto that bottom inner turret. And SKT, again, playing the map very well, using Duke's strength all series long, really, to keep Counter Logic Gaming on the back foot, reacting and playing defensively.
And it's always just so key at looking at who has first priority on pushing waves, because that's the ones who can push it down first, then start roaming again. Oh, they're going for Smithy.
Smithy's in trouble, and he's killed.
Beautiful pick there from Blank. No hesitation from any of SKT, and that is going to put the pressure on CLG. The pockets of true sight are in SKT's favor. 1 blue trinket's available for Stixxay. He just uses it now on Baron. That will be killed, and SKT return to the bait.
Oh, looking for the face check. Faker's found Afromu and has taken him down. The tidal wave locks up Huhi. Petrifying Gaze not going to be enough to matter. SKT have killed 4 members of CLG, and now they can go back.
Snowball is huge right now. SKT just add 5 layers on top of it.
Dashon will be run down here by Faker. Those overloads again and again and again. Dashon, Sap Magic lifesteal simply not enough. And Ace and the Baron at 25 minutes.
And that was the play. SKT right now is playing everything by the book. They're playing everything perfectly. They know they're much stronger in the mid game. Set up these picks around the Baron with your pick wards. Instantly, they just engage onto CLG. Nothing they can do at this point. Your jungler is already dead. Your support dies instantly. Afro now is trying to get some revenge on Faker.
Just runs away, unleashes the power. Still has flash and exhaust, by the way, so if anything else happens, got some additional tools.
Yep, some very powerful additional tools there, quick shot. Baron buff at 26 minutes here for SKT. They do go for the recall, though a lot of gold to spend here, and that is going to be the trifecta of AD carry items for Bang on Lucian right now. Plus he's gonna have the elixir on top of it. Very, very big push now for SKT with this Baron buff.
It's a 10,000 gold lead, and Blank wants to extend it more. Already forces the flash away from Stixxay. 90 caliber net buys some additional space, but that's just an easier target for the next team fight. SKT have continually gotten better with every single game, and Blank on this Elise has been phenomenal all series long. Oh, Dashon's just gonna get cut down. Blank is coming in from the side. There's some support from Huhi, but it won't matter. Vengeful Maelstrom and Sap Magic buys some time. Huhi's used the Petrifying Gaze. They've not got a kill. Blank body blocks the shot, and Faker runs for his life. The poison's not going to be there. Sap Magic will not be enough. Smithy gets the Lamb's Respite. Buys some time with the Hex Trinket shield as well. And Duke is tanking up everybody. Bang! He's on a trap! He manages to get one before going down. Huhi is dead. Stixxay's got red buff, and if he can find some slows, maybe can get more damage. SKT with a small misstep. They overextend. Duke's looking for the stun. Stun Stixxay against the wall. The silence onto Duke. Stixxay 90 calibers away. Continues to chase. Duke's got himself one. Now Stixxay's got between 3 members of SKT. That's a double. That's a triple. Duke's looking for the quadra kill, and it will be secured by Faker. Counter Logic Gaming are aced at 28 minutes.
CLG try and put their foot in the door to get back into this game, but SKT slam it shut.
Faker making sure Duke doesn't get too many highlights here. Like, that last kill is his. The quadra kill, no. That's for Faker, not for Duke. Know your place on the team.
It looked like it could have gone so well for CLG, but here's that replay one more time.
Yeah, a little bit over-aggressive by SKT. You see the rest of the members are still running down towards the bottom lane, so it's actually a good response by CLG, but still, you are so far behind that a puppy can just run around, don't care about the damage you deal, have enough damage to actually take you down. Another good setup, takes down Bang, but now here SKT is saying, guys, we have done this before. We are used to fighting with someone dying first and still turning it around. Wait for the bubble from Wolf. Straight onto Stixxay, then you charge him into the wall, fight is on.
Yep, great setup right there, and then the convergence of all of SKT. Duke has his eyes on the backside, runs right past Stixxay to grab the extra 2 kills and clean up CLG. And looks like they're gonna clean up this game as well. They're knocking at the doors. CLG haven't let them in yet, though. They're still holding on.
Got the traps.
The trap wall.
That trap wall is not going to do a whole lot because Counterlogic Gaming are down 13,000 gold. Trying to defend this tower using the Hurricane to as much use as they can from Stixxay. The tower's not going to get pressured for SKT. Look at Faker's positioning on the side. If anyone steps too far forward, they are just going to get insta-gibbed by SK Telecom.
Potentially just one last fight for CLG. They need SKT to just overextend and punish them.
Well, Tidal Wave will be used to secure this tower. No real contest. Huhi will have flash available in a few minutes' time. That Petrifying Gaze has not been as important as it needed to be. Good damage from Stixxay into Bang, though.
Yeah, the secondary turrets are not the ones to make your last stand on. It's much easier for SKT to circle around and close in on you at the secondaries. CLG are trying to hold inhibitor turrets. This is where SKT move for their push inside.
It's gonna be the battle for Helm Steve all over again. Protect your base, don't let them in. Just keep shooting, keep poking.
Traps will give some damage to Stixxay. Faker's unloaded the power. Hey, it's pinned against the wall. Lamb's Respite just on the edge. Keeps him alive for a few more seconds. But Duke's the one that's going down. Doshan's buying time. Stixxay shuts him down. That's 1 kill. This is where they fight. This is where they hold them. Blanks the target, but they found a kill. It's a rampage for Faker. He's forced away. Double kill for Stixxay. It's a double kill for Faker. They've traded 2 for 2, but crucially, the tower still stands.
Yep, that one will count for CLG. They hold the line. Trading even on kills is okay for them at this point in the game.
So SKT realizing they can't just run headfirst into the base of CLG. They will never give up. We have seen this multiple times. Dragon, number 5 in a few minutes. Baron in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now this is the fight, so CLG are just staying ready for back. Who he tries to engage will have the Kindred ulti to keep him alive, but he doesn't get a proper engage at first. Duke tanking off the tower, goes down as well. Keep in mind, CLG's comp is designed to kill you when you run at them, especially when you have a tower next to you.
Again, another key cocoon from Blank in that one. Locked up Aframu, put a stop to the healing for CLG, and allowed SKT to go even in the kills there, at least for them. This time around, Huhi doesn't have the flash available for a surprise Cassiopeia play. Even though that one did fizzle out and fail in the last fight, it made Duke start tanking the turret early and put a lot of damage from the turret there from CLG onto the main tank of SKT.
And you have your book here full of all different kinds of ways to win the game. Running headfirst into enemy tower is now crossed out from SKT. They go down to point number 2 is wait for 5
That was on the list?
That was the first one now.
What kind of list are you running?
I make my own list, man. That's the list. I've seen Coma's list, that's the one. Second part is wait for 5 dragons or Baron and then do the same.
Baron in 30 seconds. Dragon number 5 in around 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And Counterlogic Gaming are in a 13,000 gold hole. If SKT make mistakes, CLG can bring this back, but it is reliant on punishing a mistake or pulling off a miraculous play. This is not a situation that you expect a team to come back from.
Well, here comes the trigger finger because Baron's about to pop back up, and that is one thing that might pull CLG out of their defense.
Smithy's going to be able to queue over the wall. Good damage.
Blank.
Turn their attention to Blank. Blank has repel, remember, but he won't get it off. Stixxay's got himself a kill. There's a teleport from Duke. He's going to get rooted. He landed on a trap. That was well played by Stixxay. The hammer comes down in CLG. They've bought themselves more time.
It's not over yet, boys. Faker's going in.
Faker gets Darshan. The Aqua Prison locks him down. Duke has a Guardian Angel. Smithy jumps forward. 5v4. They turn their attention to Duke, but remember he comes. Look at Bang. Lamb's Respite will continue to buy time. Jumping onto Lamb's Respite. Duke's in trouble. Who's going to be the first to die once in time? Faker's shut down. He's killed. He picks it up after he was the target, but they've lost Afro. They've lost Smithy. and Stixay have to do work. Stixay's looking for more. GA pop by Duke, channels the shot. Ace in the hole won't pick up the kill, but the net, the 90 caliber. He goes down. Duke's going massive. 4, 2, 9, and Wolf saves SKT's life. It's a 3-for-1 turnaround.
They're pushing down the mid lane now. Bang and Wolf together. Stixay is coming with Darshan.
Let's see if they can lock them down. Darshan's looking for the target. Darshan's taking a whole lot of damage. Aqua Prison on cooldown and not a lot of mana. But look at the minions in both top and bottom lane.
That's going to be CLG trying to clear off the minions, but SKT probably go for this Baron. And that is going to be their next sieging tool. Man, Wolf there, allowing for the escape. Really, really crucial execution
Wolf
there.
saved everything.
So this Nami pick is coming up huge.
Because now you can get the Baron. There's even 25 seconds on Dragon, so it's not like CLG can try and trade it or anything with just Stixay. You get Baron buff, you can make a push, you can then return, take Dragon number 5, make another push. The fights are getting closer and closer.
The entire venue held their breath during the course of this team fight. Let's take a look at it one more time.
The 4 versus 5 from SKT here. They have the Guardian Angel on the Poppy, which ends up being crucial. This right here, Duke makes so many plays. Gets the wall stun onto Huhi, and that also takes down the Cassiopeia ultimate. Lamb's Respite is a big part in getting CLG to this point even in the team fight.
Oh my God, another one. Alive. Darshan, Vengeful Maelstrom on the front line. He's going to go down shortly. The passive buys some time. Soraka's healing him. Darshan is still alive. Darshan finally goes down. What more can SKT take? Stixay puts the damage onto Blank. Tries to sidestep a predicted cocoon, but it wasn't fired.
This is Dragon number 5. That's why CLG are out on the map fighting this. Baron buffed up SKT are looking to force this soon-to-be Dragon 5 buffed up SKT.
Yeah, there's no tank alive for CLG, so they have to just back away. This is gonna be a fight in their base. Once Darshan is back alive, 25 seconds for him.
I don't know if they... Well, Blank went back to base, so...
15,000 gold down. A Baron down. Aspect of the Dragon down. CLG could not have picked a harder way to play what might be the final game here at the MSI 2016 in Shanghai.
Oh, the damage is insane now as well with the Dragons. Mid lane being pushed in by Duke. Faker's coming on the bottom side. CLG almost just have to try an ulti engage from Hui and take down one guy.
And they have to go now. SKT are closing in from all sides. Their eyes on the prize. The trophy here at MSI standing in the middle of the arena.
And
Turrets
SKT
going down.
have opened up the base. Counter Logic Gaming, 1 minute to fend off this Baron, and then they still have to survive the remainder of the aspect time. Darshan's trying to go toe-to-toe with Duke. The rest of SKT on the mid inhibitor, chunking it down. Bang, dashes forward. Look at the damage onto Smithy. He's forced away. He's going to get chunked out by that volatile spiderling. A cocoon onto Darshan allows him to get chunked. The first inhibitor falls. The second nearly immediately after. And SKT, they're looking at the Nexus. Fake has gone up to the top lane as Smithy once again is burst down. CLG have to heal up and try to re-engage.
Yeah, SKT just staying around knowing super minions are on their way. Last tower goes down. CLG only have the Nexus turrets.
Darshan's in trouble. He decides to engage on Wolf. Vengeful Maelstrom buys some time. Lamb's Respite will keep CLG alive for a few more seconds, but this feels like the final fight. Petrifying Gaze didn't lock anyone up, but the hammer did. Duke throws CLG into the air. He picks his hands up as SKT have got 4 members down. They turn their attention to the Nexus, and SK Telecom continue to rule the world, and they are your mid-season Invitational champions. Jubilation for Korea's SKT.
I love to see how happy Blank just got there. It's been a tough tournament for him. A lot of people criticize his performance.
As we said, SKT had their ups and downs. And that right there makes it all worth it.
SK Telecom hoist the trophy. They were unable to pick up last year.
You can see Pu Mandu behind the team. Legendary supporter who are back from Season 3.
There has never been a more dominant team. 2 World Championships, 5 LCK titles, and MSI added to the list.
They've checked all the boxes.
They truly have. We're going to head over to the analyst desk to break down that final game in the series.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. SKT celebrates as the confetti falls around the trophy that they have fought so hard for. The one thing that they didn't have in their trophy case, they can now lay claim to.
I mean, Faker was very eager there as well. Just jumps up, holds the trophy up.
It's like, I'm the captain, boys. I'm going to lift that trophy on my own. But
they're sharing it now, though, and I just can't say enough about how impressive it is that SKT has sustained this dominance. Oftentimes, we overlook that fact.
And to think that last year, heartbreaking 5 games versus a Chinese lineup in EDG to come into Shanghai and be able to take out North America's CLG.
All right, as Rendon moves onto the stage, we've brought Wenson Zhang to the analyst desk to help us with some translations through the winner's interview, as well as the presentation of the medals.
So congratulations, SKT, for winning the MSI Championship at Shanghai. Give SKT a round of applause. Now we'll have Riot Games.
These are the directors of esports at Riot Games, Riot Magus and Brad Moore, moving to the stage to help with the presentation of the medals.
Yeah, we'll finally be able to see how SKT has gotten so good in the first day, but on the second day and third day, they didn't do so well, but they finally managed to come back and finally be able to get the championship at MSI. Finally be able to beat NALCS today at the final day. And they're going to crown the trophy. This honor belongs to every single player and belongs to the entire team. Thank you, Duke. Thank you, Faker. Thank you, Blank. Thank you, Wolf. And Ben. And their manager, Kat and Coma, coach. They performed so well, one after another. They have finally been able to win every championship at every tournament. World Championship, IEM, MSI. This is the very last championship that I've yet to get, but today they finally got it. This honor also belongs to LCK. Now, let's take a picture along with our guest and SKT. And congratulations to MSI World Championship, SKT.
A much-deserved picture at that. Blank getting startled by the confetti cannons.
I don't blame him. I just love Blank here. He's happy after the win. The sheer amount of emotion on his face after getting a trophy, I just think that is the thing you watch for. Just how happy he is with it makes everything worth it.
Now we have Faker and Blank. We're going to get a quick on-stage interview. So first off, Faker, Demon King Faker. Now you have finally won the MSI championship. The very last championship that you get. What do you have to talk to the fans at the stadium?
그래서 이 자리에서 계속 사랑해 주시고 응원해 주신 팬분들한테 좀 간단하게 말씀 좀 해 주시죠.
네. 이렇게 우승까지 할 줄은 좀 몰랐었고 그동안 좀 한국 팬들이나 세계 모든 팬들이 응원을 많이 해줬기에 저희가 우승할 수 있었다고 생각하고요. 그리고 현장에 와주신 중국 팬분들한테도 정말로 감사드립니다. 네, 谢谢。
Faker 是说他没有就是想到就是居然可以走到这一步，
He didn't know he
这都
can
是
make
因为
this
有大家
far,
粉丝
and
支
he
持他
cannot
们
do
给
this
他们
without
源源
everyone's
不断的
support
动
here
力，所以他们
that
才可以走
motivate
到
them
现在
to
这
keep
样
them
的
moving
胜利。
forward and
然
to
后
finally
就
get the
是非常感
victory.
谢今天来到
So
现场
thank you
的
so
中
much
国
for
的粉丝
everyone,
们，谢谢大家
for the。Chinese fans who
那
are here
实
today
现
at
了
the
大
stadium.
满贯之后，我们很多的人，包括是
So
Faker 的
after
粉丝
getting
们都
every
是
single
关心
champion,
大魔王接下来的
we're
电
very
竞梦想，
curious
他的人生目标。
what's next step for you?
그러면 지금은 유일한 가져가지 못했던 우승컵도 가져가는데 그래서 이 스포츠 목표는 혹시 무엇인지 새롭게 좀 얘기해 주시죠.
모든 그 대회에서 우승을 하긴 했지만 앞으로 생기는 대회들도 또 다른 대회들이기 때문에 앞으로 있을 대회들도 다 우승할 생각입니다.
他说他的目标就是，
He said
虽然现在过去的这些在
his goal
联
is
赛
that
S 级的联
what's
赛里
past-
面都获得了胜利，但是以后还会有源源
What's
不断
past
的
is
那
past,
些联赛出来，
but there are
然后
going to
他
be
希望
more
在以后
championships,
所有的
more
比赛里面
tournaments,
都获得胜
and
利
he。wants to take them
好的，
all.
在采访完了 Faker 之后呢，其实本届大赛啊，黑珍珠 Blank 的表现也是非常的棒。有
Well,
请到
the
Blank
other
来到我们的翻译的身
player
边，
Jungle,
我们也是要
Blank
简短
also
的采
played
访一下
phenomenal in
Blank。
this tournament,
那
and we're going to give
Blank
him
在
a
加
quick
入到
interview.
了 SKT 这支战队之后，现在已经实现了
So
IEM
after
包括是
joining
本届的
SKT,
季中冠军赛
Blank
的
has
两座奖
won
杯了。
IEM Championship and MSI Championship with along with SKT. What do you have to say?
이번에 SKT는 들어가고 다음에 IEM이랑 MSI의 이런 세계적인 대회에서 다 우승하게 됐는데 그래서 옆에 같이 싸워주신 그런 팀원들이 그 말씀해 드리고 싶은 말 좀.
일단 부족한 저를 많이 챙겨주신 팀원들이랑 코치님, 감독님들 정말 고맙고 정말 케어를 잘 해주셔서 저희가 또 우승까지 하게 된 것 같아요. 정말 감사합니다.
然后 Blank 是说，就是非常感谢，就是他在
Thank you
状态
very
不好的
much
时候，
for
依旧就
everyone
是
who
鼓励
support
他，
him
然
when
后
he
支
didn't
持
play so
他
well,
的所
and
有
to
的
continue
队
supporting
员，还
him.
有就是教练，
Everyone,
然后
the
就是
fans, the
非
coaches,
常
all the other
谢
players
谢
who has
大家
been
在
supported
他
him.
身边的。
And thanks
好的，那么
everyone
在
to
采
have
访
him
完了我们
on
的
his
队伍
side
的选手
along
之一
with
之后
him.
呢，我们也是再一次的恭喜本次的季中
Now,
冠军队
after
的冠
interview,
军
which is
来自
once
LCK 的王
again,
者
congratulations
SKT
SKT.。
我们再次把掌声送给他们。
We give them another round of applause.
在经过了本届比赛之后呢，今年的
After
期中
MSI
考试对于各大赛事来说是暂时的告一段落，但是我们有理由相信，今年
So
在
MSI
美
has
国的
finally
4
come to
站
the
的
end.
世界
But
全球
coming up
总决赛
next
的
is
时候，
going to
肯
be
定会包
Season
括是各
6
大赛
World
事为我们
Championship
上
in
演
the
更加
United
激烈的
States.
对决。
And we'll
同样
definitely bring
各
you
大赛
on
区的
more
夏季赛
exciting
马
games.
上也要开始了，我们要继续关注
And
这
also
个属于
LPL is about
英雄联
to
盟的夏
start.
天。最后，再一次把掌声送给我们的冠军 SKT。
Well, once again, a much-deserved victory there by SKT, the reigning world champions and now the MSI champions to boot. Once again, Winston, I'd like to thank you for help with the translations there. And we're going to hold you on the desk at least for a little bit longer to maybe get some insight from you as well. But, gentlemen, let's break down this run here by SKT through the group stages where they had a bit of a stumble, the reformation, and then the ultimate victory over CLG in the finals here.
Yeah. I think that this tournament, when you have a look at historically how much this team has accomplished, but they've also had some huge ups and downs. And I think that the start of this year, it looked like maybe they were going to be slumping one more time, but they've come back through adversity. They've made the roster changes that they needed to do. And you know what? Like, ultimate validation here of a lineup because they 3-0 North America CLG, who was also an impressive team at this tournament.
Yeah, CLG stepped up, and their motto was win everything. But it's SKT who has actually won everything at this point.
Well,
LCK,
wasn't their motto
MSI,
like fear none,
and World
respect all?
Championship. They also said win everything at the end of like every interview.
Their goal coming into the season was to win everything. Their motto coming into the tournament, respect all, fear none.
Yeah, and the way SKT just systematically takes each team apart, they're like the Borg. They just always adapt to any situation and will continually get stronger and stronger. Who's going to beat them at this point? Because this was the year for them to go down. They switched out 2 players, the season changed again, and they win yet again.
Yeah, that's the big question that we have left to answer. Krepo, any thoughts on that one?
I mean, just the biggest slump since their 2014 season where things didn't go that well, and it was looking very rough. It all looked like Rox Tigers would be here, honestly.
That's very true.
They probably are. Also, the answer to Jad's question, who's going to beat them? Probably the Rox Tigers, if anybody. Maybe China can keep progressing because we can't also We have to mention, Rado, just the progression that China has made in these tournaments. RNG definitely showed up. Yeah, sadly, they played the semifinal instead of the final, but that could have been definitely a worthy final as well.
Now, I'm sorry to cut you off there real quick, Spawn, but before we head down to an interview for ourselves, I want to come to Winston and ask you what it's been like to experience this event here in Shanghai, China. Since you've been very actively involved in communications with all the players from all the teams, what's been your take on this event so far?
Well, this event has been amazing. And one thing I have to point out is that how excited the matches are, especially in group stage. Every team can beat every other team. So it was really exciting for the fans, the local fans here, to be able to come out and join the excitement from esports. I think everybody likes it. We have a really well set up stages.
No shortage of exciting games through the group stages themselves. Gentlemen, let's talk about those. And so, in terms of the way that the entire journey of this tournament is that we had these expectations set that that's so and it's not to take
called it SKT1.
Yeah, that's true. You got one right.
Predictions in the world.
I don't. It's not to call it out and make fun of it. It's to say that was popular opinion. There were so many ideas of how this tournament would result, and it's great to see in international competition so many things turned on their head, barring the eventual SKT win, which is like, okay, exactly. When's that going to end?
Yeah, three things are certain in life: death, taxes, and SKT winning the tournament. But the rest is left to be decided.
All right, well, of course, as I throw that question to you, we are now ready for our interview. So it's time now to toss it down to Shox, who's standing by with a member of CLG.
Thank you very much, Dash. And first up, of course, thank you to Aframu for talking to us here. I know it might not be easy after, of course, not getting your hands on the championship, but with what feeling do you walk away from your games here today?
Playing against SKT definitely was pretty amazing, I would say. I'm not that sad coming out with the 0-3 loss. I thought we played pretty well, but our execution just wasn't really there. And we know what we have to work on coming in the next split. And SKT is just a really damn good team.
Obviously, they are a damn good team. And you guys have put down a perfect or a very good performance up to here. How much of that will that give you a boost to go now into the next split of the LCS? Because you started with some rookies, a new team, and a project. But now there's going to be so much more expectation on your shoulders.
Yeah. Coming into the international tournament, we definitely learned a lot. And being able to play against all the teams and making it all the way to finals, we have a lot of knowledge that we can use for our play. And going into NALCS, I think that NA as a region will probably do a lot better at Worlds this time around. Definitely really confident in saying that. And that's it.
Okay, you talked about having learned a lot. Range support meta, is it a tournament meta thing or is it a real thing?
It's actually a real thing. The supports in the series that we had just played, he countered me every time I picked Soraka. So it was pretty damn good pick, I would say. I knew he was probably going to pull out Nami or Sona or something like that. But supports right now, it's really good not to shy away from all of the pool of supports, since they all bring a lot to the table. So Nami, that game, Wolf was going off every single game. He had sustain versus Soraka, and then he had an engage with his wave. So he played it really, really well, and props to him.
Why didn't you want to steal it away?
Oh, why didn't I want to steal it away? Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Next time. Finally, obviously, a great journey here for CLG so far in this season. Second place at MSI, and actually defeating the odds and doing a lot of things that nobody had seen you doing this season. What feeling do you walk away from this, and what do you want to tell your fans that stuck by you?
Pretty good, I guess. Getting second, not really. I went first, but thank you to everyone who supported us. We appreciate it immensely, especially to our foreign fans, not just NA, even though we're representing our region. And thanks a lot for everything. And I want to give a special thank you to Team Liquid's Challenger team, Team Liquid Academy, for scrimming us before coming to this event. We didn't really have any scrims, and those guys definitely stepped up to help us practice and coming into MSI.
Awesome for giving you the props to that team as well. Congratulations, Afro, on a fantastic tournament overall, a fantastic showing for NA and for CLG, and thank you for talking to us.
Thanks.
There we go, Afro. Always happy, although a bit disappointed not getting the title, but still happy with their overall performance. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Shox. Aframu leading the charge there, the leader of that team for all intents and purposes. And I think we have to reiterate the fact that CLG should be proud coming away from this tournament with the second place finish. Although, yes, it's you didn't snag the number one. Everybody should be gunning for the win.
You could have issues finding scrims and then maybe just not scrim at all and then have a worse tournament. So I'm really happy with what CLG brought to the table here.
Yeah, what I think is really interesting as well is this isn't the first time we've seen a somewhat competitive series between a North American and a Korean team. If we think back to the 2014 World Championship, both Cloud9 and TSM had 3-1 series. So the actual score of this series was worse than then. So I don't want to go ahead and say man, what massive growth, the gap is closing. I'm not going to go and make those statements. But what I will say for CLG is that they played a great tournament based on their expectations. This is the best North America has done in reference to every team that's not the Korean teams. And they did also take a game off of SKT in the group stage, so a lot to take back home and still be very proud of.
Yeah, and with the current state of the roster, I mean, 2 first-year players coming into this tournament, Stixxay completely unproven on an international stage, relatively unknown, and they come out and get some very well-respected dues, I guess, by the end of the series. And, one thing that I think they will take away from this that maybe RNG won't is that their mental fortitude against SKT never wavered. They fought until the very, very end, and to be able to hold your head high and say that with pride is something that North America will definitely take away from this.
Yeah, I was going to return to that point about the mental fortitude being a huge thing for CLG. Do have to push us ahead, though, as both teams did give it their all on the Rift today. We, though, have to see, as we have before, that Faker carried harder than the rest. He's going to be awarded our player of the series, bringing his 33% of the team's damage and 18 kills in 3 games. He gets that honors as is much deserved.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of things to be said about Wolf's support pool and Bang on 80 carry and Duke with the split pushes, but this team is so focused around Faker. The way their dual lane can play passive because they expect Faker to carry almost every game. He destroyed these games even when he was getting incredibly focused. So hats off to Faker for staying dominant.
And if anyone wants to see what SKT looks like when Faker's slumping, go watch the group stages again because he was not having a great tournament. So credit to the young man one more time for turning it around and proving that he is the best player in the world. I already said it, Poke God enough times he starts poking you back, and Faker was throwing haymakers this whole series long.
A poke from God is much more powerful than a normal poke as well. It's usually a solo kill of some kind.
It's usually the equivalent of supports getting poked by mid laners and then just dying. But yeah, I think SKT played very well as a team, and it's really hard sometimes to get the clear MVP. I think Faker did stand out. But yeah, props to Wolf too. Fantastic Nami play, some really nice bubbles. For me, it'd be a tie between him and even Duke. Certain high impact moments, but over the entirety of the series, everything together, what they mean for the team, how they impact each other, Faker still is a well-deserved MVP.
Absolutely a team effort. Shox is joined though in the interview lounge by the man himself. So let's head downstairs for a word.
Thank you so much, Dash, and congratulations, Faker, of course, once again. I know you talked about it just a few seconds ago on stage, but I do want to ask you again how it feels after last year not being able to get that victory to now be the person holding the trophy and having all the confetti here at MSI.
페이커 선수 작년에 이제 MSI에서 준우승을 맛봤지만 이제 올해는 이제 우승을 하면서 모든 이제 축하와 이제 그러한 우승컵 들고 그렇게 우승하게 되었는데요. 소감 좀 말씀해 주세요.
우선 같은 이름들의 대회를 여러 번 다 우승하긴 했지만 다음에 열리는 대회들은 또 다른 대회들이기 때문에 다시 새로운 마음으로 다시 우승에 도전하는 그런 대회라서 다음 대회들도 열심히 할 생각이에요.
I won several championships that like LCK, World Championship, and so on. But each tournament is a new tournament, and we'll keep trying to win those tournaments continuously. Yeah.
Well, talking about the tournaments that are still coming, you have won everything there is to win, but there's something very special possibly coming up at the end of the year. We're going back to North America for the World Championship and the Staples Center, where it all began for you guys, and you got your first title. How special would that be if you guys were able to show up there and possibly get your third World Championship title where it all began?
이제 올해 롤드컵 결승전은 이제 페이커 선수랑 SKT 팀이 처음으로 국제대회 데뷔한 시즌 3 롤드컵인 LA 스테이플 센터에서 다시 열리는데요, 결승전이. 거기에 다시 한번 진출하게 된다면 얼마나 특별하게 페이커 선수에게 얼마나 특별한 의미가 있을지 말씀해 주세요.
스테이플스 센터에서 저희가 처음 우승했을 때 그때가 저는 가장 기뻤다고 생각하고 그래서 그때 그 경기장에 올라가면은 새로운 느낌일 것 같고 또 많이 기대돼요.
I'm really looking forward to go to the Staples Center once more. When we won back at season 3, that was one of my happiest moment, actually the best moment as my professional career. So I think it's gonna feel really different and new if I get one more chance to go to that Staples Center.
Definitely will. And it is in your hands. Our analysts awarded you with Player of the Series. It's always a very hard decision. Who would you give it to if you were given the decision?
그 방금 이제 저희 분석가 데스크에서 페이커 선수가 이번 결승전에 이제 최고 선수로 손꼽혔는데 페이커 선수가 이제 정한다면 어느 선수에게 이번 결승전 최고의 선수의 영예를 줄 수 있을까요?
저도 잘하긴 했지만 저는 솔직히 저랑 뱅이랑 울프랑 다 정말 잘한 것 같다고 생각하고 나머지 듀크 형이나 성구도 정말로 잘 해줬는데 그 중에서도 저는 바텀 듀오가 좀 잘했다고 생각해요.
So I agree that I played very well, and also like Bang, Wolf, like Duke and Blank. But if I had to pick, I want to thank the bottom duo, Bang and Wolf, for this series.
Yeah, they had an amazing series. Just 2 more questions. First up, I want to get your opinion on your enemy in the series, CLG, who was actually a team that was reformed and has rookies in their squad only since the beginning of the split. How far do you see them going? How do you see them evolving?
그럼 이제 이번에는 그러면 결승전에서 맞붙은 CLG 팀에 대해서 묻고 싶은데요. CLG 팀이 올해 이제 신인 선수 2명을 새로 영입하면서, 그러니까 스택스 선수랑 후이 선수를 새로 영입하면서 나름 새로이 꾸린 팀인데 이제 붙어 보니까 이제 CLG 팀이 앞으로 어떻게 성장할 것 같고 얼마나 더 이제 좀 잘해질 것 같나요?
오늘 CLG랑 상대 보면서 느낀 점은 그 CLG가 정말로 운영을 잘한다는 느낌이 들었고요. 그렇지만 저희가 좀 한타 이기는 싸움을 잘 봐서 이겼다고 생각하는데 CLG에서는 그 부분을 보완만 하면은 좀 지금보다도 더 좋은 팀이 될 수 있다고 생각해요.
So I think CLG has really good team management, like late game, like that game management. But I think we're able to win because we're like able to start, like initiate the fights when we had a like upper hand. So I think if CLG just kind of improves in that area, they'll be a better team.
Okay, we'll see how they do later on in the season. Is there anything you would like to say to our viewers who have been following you for 3.5 years now and seen you taking this title in the end as well?
그럼 페이커 선수 이제 마지막으로 이제 무려 거의 이제 3년 반이나 시간 동안 페이커 선수를 응원하고 이제 지지해준 팬들에게 한마디 말씀해 주세요.
정말로 지금까지 계속 저를 응원해 주셔서 정말로 감사드리고 또 저에 대한 비판이 좀 가끔 많을 때가 있는데 저는 그 사실인 비판들은 다 수용하기 때문에 앞으로도 좀 많이 비판해 주시고 또 앞으로도 많이 지켜봐 주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
So I want to thank all the fans who have been cheering for me throughout this all the time, and there are actually a lot. I have seen some criticism against me on the internet community, but I'm willing to take those that are based on facts. So I'll also welcome those criticisms in the future, and yeah, just keep cheering for me, please.
Yeah, bit of an answer there to the critics as well. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Faker and SKT taking home MSI. And a little bit of a veiled comment there in that last answer, but overall, very happy to lift that trophy. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Shocks Faker. Humble as ever, though, in his admission that he has received criticism, and some of it may be deserved throughout this tournament, but that he continues to accept that criticism and wants to continue to prove himself to his fans.
It's incredibly important as a player when you're at the top to continuously look how to improve, because if you rest on your laurels and you stay there, and by the time somebody's caught up, they're still moving forward. Like, they will just jump past you, so it's really very important. Sometimes that does mean you have to crawl to a lot of unfounded comments to find that one little nugget that does make you improve, but if he's strong enough to do so, by all means, keep doing so.
But let's take a look at the man's career, because he was undisputedly the best in the world. Then Imp goes over to LPL. He wins an LPL title. He goes into Worlds on LGD. Everyone's like, maybe Imp can rise up to the mantle. Like, they get crushed. All of a sudden, you know, when you have a look at this tournament, Marta comes back, and they're like, you know, Samsung's white Marta, now RNG, new version of that team. Faker crushes that team as well. Like, this guy just has every single answer on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, and I'm just so amazed by Faker's sustained excellence. That was one of my big worries about esports when we changed the game so frequently, is like, how long are these careers really going to be? Like, some players play for 6 months, like, I'm going to retire now, right? But Faker's been the best in the world for nearly 3 years now, which is kind of like truly legendary, especially in the League of Legends sense. And the game's going to be changing again for this next patch, and I can't wait to see what he figures out.
Right, and he's got no shortage of hunger for more awards. I mean, he said it as many times as he can. You know, well, you've done it all, Faker, so what is there left to do? He's like, well, there's another Worlds coming up soon, and then there's an MSI after that.
No one's ever won 3 World Championships.
Exactly.
No one's ever won 2 in a row.
You know, it's that kind of a mentality that I do believe kind of feeds to what you're talking about, Crepo, in that, like, as long as he stays hungry, stays humble, and looks for those nuggets of criticism that are useful, he can continue to grow and evolve as a player.
And obviously that he needs infrastructure around him, you know, coaches, good teammates that are not afraid to give him criticism, also just not blindly agree with him, because we've seen so many players at the top of the game just stick to their old patterns, be like, nope, this is the way the game's supposed to be played, we'll only do this, the meta changes, suddenly it's too late, suddenly you're not used to dealing with criticism either, and things fall apart. So I obviously have no insight in the inner workings of SKT. What we get is interviews, which, you know, may not always be the most accurate, but it does seem that they have really good infrastructure. And Faker, if he truly is taking some of those criticisms into account, by all means, yeah, he may still be the best for many years to come.
Well, with the information at hand, you have to like look at it. Like he was playing pretty much control mages, but then he goes on to Lulu. He's willing to play support. He's had so many assassin games with Fizz and Echo in this tournament. The guy just does it all. Like honestly, it's so easy to be like patched in as a player, and you know be able to play carries or something like that. But he really is like mercurial in the way that he can just play across every single form of the game.
And even through that, though, in the interview, he also mentioned that he truly believes team effort, listing all 4 of his team members, but then specifically pointed out that in this series he felt Bang and Wolf really stepped up to the plate. So let's discuss that bot lane in the way that they attributed, or rather contributed to this victory.
Yeah, Bang's Ezreal was absolutely awesome. Like, if you're going to be able to play the lane passively and keep your farm even like that, as soon as he hits that 2-item power spike, Bang then started playing extremely aggressive. And even Afremu was saying in some of the pre-tournament interviews that it's like playing against one person when you're playing against Bang and Wolf. So they were definitely very synergistic as a team.
Even just the team in general, they switched to Afremu every single chance they had. They were just looking towards teamfight. Nope, they pivot. They go right. Suddenly Afremu is dead. He no longer can sustain the fight. Wolf's Nami was incredible, always holding his ulti for the disengage and then landing some clutch bubbles, and that's hard. Like, landing bubbles on itself is already annoying. Against really good players that know it's coming, it is hard. That 2-man bubble was absolutely fantastic.
Well, with that, we're going to send it back down to Shox one last time, who's joined by another one of our MSI champions.
Thank you very much. And of course, we wanted to check in with Wolf because he promised that he would be back here after winning the title. Wolf, congratulations to you as well. Our analysts had a lot of praise for your Nami, and Faker himself just said that he thought that the bottom lane played really, really well. How do you look back on your performance in this final?
저희 이제 라이엇 분석가들 그렇고 페이커 선수도 울프 선수가 엄청난 활약을 해줬다고 얘기를 했었는데 울프 선수는 본인의 결승전 활약에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
1, 2세트 같은 경우에는 그런 활약 같은 면은 딱히 못 보여드린 것 같아서 네 그런 말씀해 주신 거에 대해서 감사는 하지만 네, 잘 모르겠어요. 3경기에는 제가 잘했다고 생각해요, 굉장히.
I actually think I didn't play that well in the first 2 games. So I want to thank you for all the good comments, but I don't know if I deserve that. But for the 3rd game, maybe I think I actually played pretty well.
Okay, very humble in that as well. I got to ask you about the Nami pick specifically. There's been so much talk about the ranged supports. Why did you pick it first off in game 1, and why did it work in the entire series?
이제 이번 결승전 때 나미와 같이 원거리형 서포 챔피언들을 많이 골랐었는데 그 챔피언을 어떻게 고르게 됐는지 그리고 어떻게 고른지 좀 말씀해 주세요.
어제 아프로모 선수가 경기하실 때 나도 저런 상황이 되면 챔피언을 뭘 해야지 이런 생각을 했었는데 아프로모 선수가 소나를 하셨더라고요. 그래서 나도 소나 괜찮아 보이네. 근데 나미도 뭐 괜찮아 보이네 하면서 네 그냥 뭐 괜찮아 보여서 했어요, 그냥.
So when I was watching CLG and Flash Rolls game yesterday, and when Afremu was forced to pick like Sona, like when he had other champions banned or taken away, I thought like, what would I play in that kind of situation? And I saw him win with a Sona pick, so I thought, okay, Sona works, then Nami could work as well. And the champion looked pretty good, and that's how I got to play Nami.
Yeah, and win with it 3 times in a row. Looking at the big picture here, we saw you saying in a video in the beginning of the year, I want to be on an SKT that grows. Now, in the middle of the year, you have already reached such high heights and won MSI. How will you retain this until the World Championship?
울프 선수 이제 사전 인터뷰 영상에서 이제 더욱더 성장하는 SKT 되고 싶다라고 말씀하셨는데 MSI를 우승하면서 거의 이미 최고점을 찍은 것 같아요. 시즌 중간에 어떻게 하면 이 폼을 그대로 유지한 채 이제 LCK 썸머랑 롤드컵까지 갈 수 있을까요?
되게 어려운 문제 같아요. 이 폼이라는 게 굉장히 어려운데 아무래도 지금 같이 우승을 향해서 열심히 연습하고 뭐 딱히 뭐 헛짓이라고 해야 되나 그런 거 하는 선수가 없어서 아마 이대로 쭉 간다면 LCK나 그 다음 롤드컵도 괜찮은 모습이 나올 것 같아요.
So it's really hard to say how we're gonna maintain our performance. I don't think there's any other way but just to keep on working hard, keep on practicing, and I think our team is relatively less distracted to other things. So I think if we just keep on working hard, then we'll be able to play better and play better in the World Championship.
Wolf, is there anything you want to say to our viewers and the fans?
마지막으로 저희 시청자들이나 팬들에게 한마디 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
제가 어제 트위터를 보고 있었는데 아프로모 선수와 샥준 누나가 사진 찍은 게 올라왔더라고요. 그래서 굉장히 부러웠어요. 그 말 하고 싶은데 이 말 해도 될까요? 그리고 사진 저도 한 장 찍을 수 있으면 좋겠다고 좀 말씀해 주세요.
Okay. Yesterday I saw on Twitter Afro taking a selfie with Shocks. So I was wondering if I could take one with you as well.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, perfect. We will do that in just a second because I do feel like we have to head back to the guys. But thank you very much. We're going to take that selfie and we're going to leave it over to the guys to wrap up the tournament.
Thank you very much, Shocks.
operator.
Yep.
Smooth.
Gotta hand it to him. I love it. Well, Wolf there again, deserved championship after some criticism. Another player that did face criticism along with Blank throughout this tournament and really stepping up, bringing in that Nami, finding an answer to what Afromu had been doling out to players across the tournament.
Hey, EDG Aaron said if he was going to change someone on the SKT lineup, it would be Wolf before the final. So, being able to silence critics is one of the best things about being a pro player, and he definitely did that.
But then he goes, we see Shocks in the background. Then he goes against, our players are not distracted by anything else. And at the closing interview of MSI fans, was like, yo, can I get a selfie real quick
After
there?
the games.
After the games, come on.
He was laser focused before that, man.
All righty, well, given the victory here by SKT, given everything we've seen over the last 2 weeks, gentlemen, the one last thing I want to discuss is what the future holds for competitive League of Legends, right? SKT is still the best team. Who's going to take them down? But at the same time, the growth of CLG, maybe even the growth of NA, as well as the other regions, LMS included.
I mean, CLG improved as a play, but I really want to highlight the growth they've had as an organization as well. And then if we have to go all the way back to where they started, it kind of started in Hotshot's basement. At one point, his mom was running the team, and from my experiences, they always had the right idea, and Hotshot, as an owner, towards me was always very genuine, but they lacked the execution. Sometimes there were the right concepts, but execution was lacking. But they've really doubled down on really getting the right infrastructure right now. They even have a chef in-house that cooks their meals. Zig seems to be on top of things. When they go on the stage, they're laser focused, almost too serious. I wonder if they even enjoyed playing on the stage, but that's a secondary discussion. But it seems that things are going right for a lot of these North American organizations, and especially CLG. And then with the right talent that seems very teamwork focused, CLG may not have yet hit their ceiling.
And when you look forward as well, you also have to bring up Europe, because they sent a young team over to this tournament. And whilst people are going to overperform, there are going to be regions that underperform. I mean, China did it last year, and LPL went through a crushing phase where people had completely wrote them off. They redeemed themselves here, but I really do look forward to a younger European scene bouncing back towards Worlds, because we've seen how classy some of these European players can be. And I think that if you count them out now, I would question very much what you're actually thinking, because they sent a young team. It didn't go their way, but they can definitely come back from it.
Yeah, it's like one of those sayings, on any given Sunday. But in League of Legends, it's like at any given tournament. Different things can happen. There's so many factors that go into the preparation before the tournament, whether it be scrims, whether it's your mindset about how you're going to approach it, and then how well your organization organizes and manages your time. So, I really do still look forward to the World Championship, because I don't think we're going to get exactly the same tier list of regional results. More teams, more games, more chances to redeem yourself.
Yeah, Europe definitely took a learning experience here. As much as people meme about vacation and all, and G2 not showing up, I think it's good because we have two really, really solid organizations in Europe that are player-founded. Both Ocelot and Expeke started their organizations. There will be growing pains. There will be things that are not executed poorly. They will need to allow for growth. Hopefully, everybody in Europe speaking hopefully for my region, then takes a lesson out of this, more professionality, more infrastructure, and just do their best to get the best teams out there in the best way possible.
Yeah, and I think that, I'm going to once again use that to kind of bridge to what RNG accomplished in this, because they came onto home soil. There was so much pressure on these young Chinese players to step up, and they were able to finish first seed. Sure, they fell down in the best of 5, but that just teaches them that, it's not about the best of ones, and you do need to build on that mental fortitude, that coaching as well. So I think that Europe and LPL are two of the teams that maybe took the harshest learnings out of this tournament and hopefully can continue to grow.
Well, we will look for that growth as the year continues out of all of our teams. And while we're closing the books on MSI 2016, there's plenty of League of Legends to look forward to. The summer split kicks off in just a few weeks with the European LCS returning on June 2nd with a brand new best-of-2 format. And North America kicks off their summer split just one day later, introducing a third day of broadcast and best-of-3 format on June 3rd. Now, on behalf of myself, the desk, and all of us here in Shanghai covering the 2016 Midseason Invitational, thank you for joining us over the last 2 weeks, and we'll see you in the summer split.
It's going to be a lot of games.
Yeah, many more times. This is what we need to close the gap. That's what I've been told, right? You just need more.
Yeah, exactly. That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
LCK 25th, LPL 26th.
Welcome to Shanghai, China for the 2016 Mid-Season Invitational.
저는 딱히 홈버프 그런 거 신경은 안 쓰는데 뭔가 있는 것 같기도 하고 그런 것 같아요.
Down goes the Duke. He's been slain. His kingdom is gone. This will be royal. Never giving up. Never saying die.
Yes, look at the crowd. They look amazing.
We actually got some people watching.
We were kind of unfortunate in the last game, but I believe we can overcome it now, okay?
They've done it!
Oh my God, Supermassive make their mark here at MSI, and they ace CLG.
Call your family, call your friends. MSI is bonkers already. Perks is alone. He delivers Faker to Perks. Scumbag Kickers. Disaster once again for G2.
没想到 SKT 会4年半。
SKT, what the hell is going on with this team?
Vega not gonna be dead. It's a rooftop barrage! There goes the Nexus! Look at the celebration on this Flashball squad. LMS proving themselves today.
All bets are off here, 2016 MSI.
The unbreakable will break. It's a double, a triple for Stixxay. Counter Logic Gaming scoring magnificent win for America.
我觉得 CLG 的 AD Stixxay 让我蛮感到惊讶。
Stixxay is going up again! Are you kidding me? They're gonna take down the undefeated team.
They want to find the kill under the Lulu.
Oh, Faker, you cheeky devil!
What an incredible game. SKT find the team fight they're looking for.
MSI를 못 이겨봤기 때문에 MSI가 가장 이기고 싶은 대회인 것 같아요.
Looper is completely unstoppable. It's Looper alone against the world. The one-man army of Looper wins game 1. And a big knockback on a 2. Huge play.
Faker's playing like a man possessed right now.
It's a beautiful win for Korea's SK Telecom T1 to tie up the series.
You can only poke God so much before he comes back.
This one now, Shahu puts the wall down early, tries to get away, but look at that in the back line is Faker. The perfect game in the last match of the semifinal. Into the finals they go. SKT are here to stay.
I'm glad that they're confident going up against us, but we're just as confident, if not more.
Smithy can actually go down here. Lands respite is up. No, he doesn't have time to throw it out of the turret. Yes, we do have a series. GG to the LMS Flash Wall. Uh-oh, here we go. Oh, the re-engage. Oh, where's the respite? It's not happening this time. That's the nail in the coffin for Counter Logic Gaming. SK Telecom T1 will face Counter Logic Gaming in the mid-season invitational finals.
Maybe they've been seen as the best team for so many years, but the only thing that matters is today.
경기가 시작되면 몸으로 두려움을 느끼게 해줄 수 있을 것 같습니다.
cliff for game 1 in the best of 5. Look at the slide, drive, divide. Faker split the fight, but nobody's gone down. Nami's locked in. GG, Re. Let's do it again. Counter Logic Gaming, they're in trouble. The spear tag bang, but it won't matter. Flash away from Stixon. SKT look to take down the Nexus. Look to take down Counter Logic Gaming. It takes a few more hits, and they are 1 win away from the mid-season Invitational title. That's a double. That's a triple. Duke's looking for the quadra-kill. SK Telecom continue to rule the world, and they are your mid-season Invitational champions.